Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be doing another exercise that is going to further strengthen your understanding of component states and event handlers. This is what our application is going to look like. We're going to have a random anecdote displayed, and we're also going to have a voting system. So we can press on the vote button to increase the votes. And we're going to have a next anecdote button that is going to select a random anecdote from our list. So we're going to create a new folder called Anecdotes Exercise. Then we're going to open our terminal and navigate to this folder. And in here, we're going to run our commands. We're going to call our project Anecdotes. And we're going to use the React template. Once that's done, we're going to cd into our project, and we're going to install our dependencies. Once that's done, we're going to head over to the source folder, and we're going to delete the unnecessary files. Then we're going to clear out our main and our app file. Since we're going to be using state, we're going to import it in our app file. Then we're going to define our app component. So we're going to be storing the anecdotes in a list, and you can find this list in the description below, so you can copy and paste it. Once we have our list, we're going to create our state variable, and we're going to call it selected and set selected, and we're going to set it equal to useState with an initial value of 0. So we're going to use the selected variable to access different elements in our list. The selected variable is going to act as our index, so we're going to return a p tag that substitutes in anecdotes at the index selected. And we're also going to have a button with the text next anecdote, and it's going to have an onClick attribute, and we're going to give it a function called next anecdote. And we're going to define this function right now. So we're going to have const next anecdote. It's going to take no input. So in here, we want to generate a random number that we can set to selected, so we can randomly choose an anecdote from our list. And to do that, we're going to use the random function. So this is going to generate a random number between 0 and 1, but in our case we want to generate a random number from 0 up to the length of our anecdotes list. So we're going to multiply this by anecdotes dot length. The next thing we have to do is round our number down, because the math.random function also returns decimal numbers, which we do not want. So we're going to use another function, which is math.floor, which is going to floor our numbers. And finally, we're going to pass in this number to set selected. So now we're done with our component, so we can export it. So we're going to export default app, and we're going to save our file. And we're going to go over to the main file, and we're going to import our component. We're also going to import React DOM. And we're going to use the React DOM library to render our component. Using the render function, we're going to pass in our app component. So now we can save our file and open the terminal and navigate to our project, which is in Anecdotes Exercise and in Anecdotes. And here we're going to run npm run dev. And now if we go to our browser, as you can see, we get an anecdote and a next button. So we can press on it and a random anecdote is chosen from our list. And as always, we should have our developer console open. So now we're going to add the voting system to our application. In order to do that, we're going to need another state. We're going to call it votes and set votes. And we're going to set it equal to useState. And we're going to give it an initial value of array. And we're going to pass in the length of an array we want, which in this case is going to be the same as anecdotes. And we're going to use the fill function to fill in the value 0. So how this is going to work is this array is going to represent the amount of votes each anecdote has, and we're going to use it to display this vote. And we're going to use a button to update this array. So in our return statement, we're going to add another button that says vote, and it's also going to have an onClick attribute. And we're going to give it a function voting system. So now we're going to define our function. So we're going to have const voting system. It's not going to take any input. So as before, we're going to create a copy of the votes array. We're not directly going to change anything. So we're going to create a copy and we're going to use the spread operator to copy votes. And we're going to update the currently selected anecdotes vote by 1. And finally, we're going to use the set votes function and we're going to pass in our updated array. And in our return statement, we're going to display this vote. So we're going to have another p tag that says has, and in curly braces, we're going to substitute in votes at the selected index, and we're going to say votes. Now we can save our file and go to the browser. As you can see, the votes get displayed. So if we press on the vote button, the vote for the current anecdote increases. Now if we press the next anecdote button, the votes reset. And if we look for that anecdote again, we should see that it has 4 votes. So this has been an exercise on component state and event handlers. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel to show your support.